Hi guys, it's Jim here. Today I'm going to be talking about something that I'm extremely passionate about, and that is mental health stigma. Now, it seems to be quite a hot topic at the moment in terms of mental health, and a lot of people have been getting their views in. And I thought I'd just join in, maybe with a slightly different take on things and how I see it. Now, I've made it clear in my videos that I'll be as open and honest as I can about my experience with mental health issues. Now that has, some people have said that I share too much and the information I share is too personal. And to that I say that is exactly the point of my videos. I want to get people talking about their experiences in the rawest form. Because I think if you hold back, you're adding to that stigma that it's us and them. Whereas if you're honest, people can relate to that. If you don't hold back, people they'll pick up on things that they wouldn't necessarily otherwise, because you are being honest. And I've had the privilege of hearing some of the most personal stories that people didn't have to tell me, but I'm so glad that I've heard them, because I can connect to so many things that they've said, and we can talk about it, and find there is common themes that run through mental health. Now, what annoys me in terms of stigma is not people's ignorance. I have come across situations where I've told people, in person, and you can see that they recoil, or they're a bit dubious of, I say, I've been in a mental health hospital. People they're not used to hearing about that. That's not their common experience. So naturally, people don't understand it. And when you don't understand something, you can be afraid of it. But when you explain, people tend to be reasonable about it. They tend to, understand that, it's not as bad as it, because what people have the idea of is what they see in film, and obviously everything in film has to be stereotyped as much as possible to get across an idea. So the idea of mental health in films is so amplified that it's not even reflective of reality anymore. It becomes its own little universe within film. Now, what annoys me about mental health stigma is the language that we use. It's extremely negative, and really it does just add to that stigma that it's us and them. And you hear words like psycho, loony, schizo, bipolar. Not only are they derogative to people that suffer these conditions and alienate them more than they already feel. They're already suffering some of the most horrific disorders that are known to man, and yet they feel isolated as it is. It's only made worse by people using these words that are so, they're used as slurs to people. They're not positive phrases. Calling someone a psycho is not seen as, that's, just a phrase. No, these are very negative and very volatile language. And you can hear the dogs barking, but I'm going to carry on anyway. And it's language, like I say, it's language that makes them feel more alienated. But it's also, carrying on that misunderstanding of the disorders. Calling someone, bipolar because they have a slight mood swing is just not what the disorder is. Calling someone schizo or something, or psycho, because they might have a belief or an idea which is seen as not normal, is not representative of the disorder. So what we're doing is we're just fueling this stigma, this idea that mental health isn't something that's normal and natural. Whereas 1 in 4 people in the population will suffer from some form of mental health issue in their life. So it's not something that's segregated from the general population. It works within the general population, and we all suffer our problems. No one runs through life without any hiccups or speed bumps along the way. We all have our issues, and we come across them. They might not be able to be categorized as an illness or a disorder, but we all suffer from depression at some point in our life. We all suffer from stress, unless you're extremely lucky. We all will suffer from some form of stress during our lives, and these are normal parts of life. Now, anxiety and depression are just those common struggles that everyone suffers. They are just those problems amplified. And I can understand with the schizophrenic and psychosis like disorders that people will misunderstand, because that is not something that is an amplification of something that everyone experiences. These are disorders that are out of the normal bubble of what people experience day to day. But at the same time, these people suffer enough without having the stigma that they are isolated from society. I have suffered psychosis, but nothing compared to I've seen some people with schizophrenia that are in literal agony. Every day is hard for them. They can't tell the difference between reality and their psychosis, and that they already feel isolated enough. I've had experience of talking to many people with schizophrenia, being in hospital, and they just are so isolated because they can't go out in normal circumstances without struggling to tell the difference, and obviously that isolates them. They can't just easily mix with the general population. They struggle to tell the difference between general population and their psychosis. So I can understand that people misunderstand that, and that is not an issue. I do not class that as an issue. That is my job to explain to them. I don't believe it's the public's job to go in find out about this information, because they're not gonna. I think it's people who have experienced the disorders. It's our job to tell them, and that's not an issue. Ignorance is not the issue. It's it is a slight issue, but it's not the problem. I would say is the most needed to be tackled. Like I say, it is our language. It is the way that we fuel this stigma. It is the way that we continuously isolate these people. Even the most ill patient, if you talk to them, that they will have shared experiences that we can all relate to. They are not someone that is, howling at the moon or whatever. That's just not how mental illness works. Like I say, there are some significantly ill people that just cannot cope day-to-day life. But like I say, our language just it just fuels this stigma that these people are not normal. And there is no definition of normal. So I just thought I'd add that into the general talk about stigma, that it is not ignorance which is the main problem. It's the way we use language, and I believe that is something we need to tackle, because it is the most pervasive form of mental health stigma. Ignorance can be tackled. Ignorance can be easily tackled by being honest, like I say, being honest and sharing, people sharing their experiences. Ignorance can be tackled that way. Language is so ingrained in what we do every day, that it is hard to tackle. Like I say, it's so pervasive within what we do, our language. And sometimes I'll say, oh my God, person's so bipolar. It's like, I having bipolar, I know the experience of bipolar, and I know that person's not. But sometimes I catch myself saying it, and then we're all guilty of, even though I campaign for mental health stigma, removal of it. I catch myself using these words, these negative slurs, and I think if I'm using it and I'm, consciously trying not to use these phrases, I can only imagine what, it's like in the general public. So I've rambled for a bit now. I'm gonna end it here. I hope it's giving people something to think about. So yeah, thanks for watching.